I'm now more conscious of trying not to be so down on the prospects of this team. I'm trying to be conscious of that.
Okay.
Because it's really, they rattled off the 5 in a row, and you started seeing both the veterans and the young guys playing. I'm like, I saw some potential in there, even though they got major problems with the bullpen and just major inconsistencies with the rotation and all of that. There's still major things. So, I was thinking, like, all right, you lose the first game to the Cubs. Fine, you won 5 in a row, but this one was one that I wanted for a number of reasons. One, I can't stand Marcus Stroman. It's not just because of last night. I can't stand that guy. I think he is a total jerk. He is someone that I actually supported for a number of months and even years prior to him becoming a Met, because he went to a high school, a rival high school. Bellport was where I went. He went to Patchogue Medford. Patchogue High School is actually where my dad graduated high school, so I had always supported him. I know people that were friends with him in high school and loved the fact that he'd made it all the way to the majors, supported him. He had his height doesn't measure heart clothing line, and I got some of that stuff sent to my house by one of his buddies, and I would wear it on the air, and I'd support the guy. And then, like, one time that after a bad start, Boomer and I criticize him. He blocks us, calls us all sorts of names, and runs away. I'm like, this guy is just the pit. And then he was part of that whole situation with Baez and Lindor and hating the fans and all these things. And he's a jerk. I just believe that the guy is a jerk. So when he's out there pitching as well as he is last night, and I'll give him credit for pitching great. He did. He pitched great. And he's doing all these antics and histrionics on the mound. It's pissing me off because all I wanted to see was this lineup crush him and him walk off the mound down 6-0 in the second inning. Meanwhile, he's out there in the 8th dealing, getting double plays and having a spectacular night and then gyrating and slapping his chest. So there's that. All right, so that's the biggest reason why I'm pissed off, and he's yelling at the Met dugout. The other reason why I'm pissed off is that Kodai Senga gets a extra day. And he wasn't bad last night, but he gets an extra day and he gets a 2-0 lead. The offense was bad, but can you just be great once against a bad lineup? Be great.
That's it right there.
You got a gazillion dollars to come over here from Japan. You got a 2-0 lead against a bad team. They need to score more runs. Trust me, I get it. But don't cough it right back up. When you get that extra day because you don't pitch as much in Japan and they got to, make sure that they put you in the perfect situation to succeed, it's annoying. And then the other thing that's pissing me off threefold was here's Francisco Alvarez, and I know he grounds into the double play and the big Stroman, nutso thing that he does on the mound. But, he hits a 2-run homer into a blustery wind, and all I'm thinking is that they're going to send this guy down.
Nah, he's not going. He's not going anywhere.
You sure?
He's not going anywhere.
Then what are they going to do?
I don't know, but he's not going to be going anywhere. I mean,
they better not.
Got Gary and Keith talking about it on the broadcast.
They better not.
There's no way that they can send this guy down. There's no chance. I shouldn't say no chance. Very little chance that he goes anywhere. He's their offense.
I know, but I'm worried about it.
No, I will.
I'll tell you why. There's all right. One, I think Buck Showalter has an obsession with Tomas Nido. I think
Dry eyes?
Yeah, Dry Eyes Nido. I think that he has an obsession with him. I think that he overrates him. There's some coaches that just love certain players for whatever reason, and then NBA guys that are getting minutes that shouldn't because they're hustle guys, whatever, but they can't produce. I think that's Buck Showalter and Tomas Nido. I think he absolutely loves him. Always had his back, his defense, the way he handles the staff, his mentality in the dugout, whatever. So there's that. Then you've got Navarez.
Good, get rid of him.
Okay, but he's Billy Epler brought him in.
Get rid of him.
And Billy Epler, who was not here when Francisco Alvarez was drafted, Billy Epler's thinking, hey, I'm going to look like a buffoon if I sign Navarez. He gets hurt, and then we get rid of him.
What would make him look like a bigger buffoon? Getting rid of Alvarez right now.
Yeah, I agree. I just hope that they see it that way.
They have to. He's their best offensive player right now.
But he's the only one with options, and these guys think differently than we do.
Yes, I know that. But right now, if it's funny, if they were 35-18, I could see it more than where they're at right now as a struggling offensive group. And it's weird, and you're right. The 5-game winning streak, there were a lot of fans, and I heard it too, 5 in a row, and Alonso's going nuts, and we're dry humping the air, and all this stuff's great. A little bit of fool's gold, though.
Yes.
When you're winning games with late inning home runs, There's no consistency to this team whatsoever. You know, even last night, you get the early home run, and that's nothing. The rest of they don't even threaten for the most part the rest of the night, aside from a guy on here, a guy on there. And you're absolutely right. You look at this Cubs lineup, you're not wrong. Can you, I don't know, limit them to a couple of runs over 7 innings last night? Or like you point out, don't give up 3 runs in the first 3 innings. Enjoy the lead for a little while. Get into your bullpen. This team is madly inconsistent. And quite frankly, they're not that good. No, they're not a bad team. Right. I'm not saying that. They're not a bad team. They're not great.
No, right now, you're right. And the games that they won, it essentially took miracles. I mean, you had that Wednesday night game with the Vientos home run, and then the Alonso home run, and then you had the Alonso Friday night grand slam down 7-3 and winning that one in miraculous fashion, and that's not something that's sustainable. And then they come back after that 5-game win streak and put up these 2 duds, and one of which is the fact that they got to push Senga back to throw Tyler McGill back out there, who I guess they were encouraged by his previous start, but should understand that you're not going to squeeze out 3, 4, 5 starts, good starts out of Tyler McGill to push Senga back just for him to cough up the lead after getting the 2-0 lead from Alvarez, where there's energy around this team.
Yep.
I mean, think about the mentality of the fan, at least for me last night, was when Alvarez hits that home run, I'm thinking, they are back on track because they dropped 1 game beginning of this series after a 5-game win streak. They're going to win this game. They're going to win this series. Alvarez is unbelievable. Senga's going to pitch well, and they're back. Like I said, all right, forget about yesterday. Forget about Tuesday. Doesn't matter anymore. This game they're going to win. And then to go from that feeling to Marcus Stroman, ground ball after ground ball after ground ball, to strikeout, and him walking off the mound and pumping his chest, and him starting that double play and going nuts, and Kodai Senga giving the lead right back up in seemingly a minute and a half. I'm annoyed.
That was Stroman at his best last night. Yeah, and the Mets the Mets had 4 hits. 4. Yeah, for an entire game they had 4 hits, and Alvarez had 2 of them. The rest of the lineup did next to nothing. It's so odd that you would say a team gives up an 8 spot in an inning, and I feel better about them last night than I do the Mets, because the Mets gave you, aside from the Alvarez home run, the Mets gave you nothing. The Yankees, even with giving up the 8-run lead, to me, those innings happen. And it was one of those things where everywhere Baltimore put the ball, it found a spot. You can make the one case that the second hit of that crazy inning, Volpe maybe could have made a play on it, but it was hit hard, whatever, it goes into left field. But at least for the Yankees, they put some runs up. You got a great 6 innings out of Cortez. All right, the 7th inning comes, fine. But then they load the bases. They were right back at it, at least challenging. Where's the challenge out of this team on a routine basis, on a normal night, on a consistent basis? It's not.
No, and I'm with you. I mean, I think the one takeaway I have from the Yankees last night is that the Orioles aren't going anywhere.
Orioles are good.
Yeah, that's really what it is for me. It's not so much that the Yankees are bad or there's major concerns. The game sucked. I mean, it was not good. You blow that big of a lead, you're cruising. Cortez is pitching well. That's the last thing you expect is a meltdown like that. But I mean, I'm not going to sit here and think that they're completely falling apart. But I do believe that the biggest concern for the Yankees right now, other than themselves, is that every single team in that division is going to be a pain in the ass the entire rest of the year.
That's going to be the AL East is going to be an absolute grind. There's no question about it.
Already has been.
Yeah, and we're only 50 games, not even 50 games into the season.
Right, absolutely. But I mean, the Mets have legitimate concerns. And
how about this stretch the Mets have gone through with the teams that we've talked about, and now you tack on a Cubs team that I think was 20-26 when they started 2 nights ago. Like, the Mets can't get out of their own way against these bad teams.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And I try to figure it out. Is it something about how, last year was all this magic and they had 101 wins and it ended the way that it did, and maybe they came back thinking like, oh, we got to go through this regular season again. Are they not locked in against these bad teams? Was it too easy for them last year? I don't know what it is. But, I mean, it's not like the team changed all that much from last year to this year. And what you're getting is direct opposite results against the worst teams in the league.
Yeah.
Over and over. The Rockies, the Tigers, the Reds, the Cubs now. And I know I'm missing some in there too. The Nationals.
Oh,
my God.
Brutal.
And it's just, it's different this year. than it has been because of the what happened last year with the expectations and then the payroll and everything. I mean, this to me is like the pressure on them is like the Nets when Kyrie and Kevin Durant were here and they went all in with those guys. It's the same type of pressure. If you don't win a championship with Steve Cohen and the highest payroll in baseball, and you're bringing in these guys for $40 million a year to buy yourself a championship, essentially, if it doesn't work and you got to break it down and you didn't have some major success, meaning like competing for a championship for real, like getting to a World Series, obviously winning it would be great, but getting there, then you're a joke. Then you become a joke. And I've said this before about them. The Mets have been a joke for a majority of my lifetime. A majority. You know, they've had their runs, and I've been there to see all of it. In 2006, ended horrible. Obviously, 2000 ended horrible. 2015 ended horrible. 1999 was fun, but then it ended horribly. But whatever. They've had their moments. But for the most of my life, they've been a joke of a franchise. You know, whether it's been the Wilpons and how cheap they are, or guys like Jason Bay or Bobby Bonilla and the Bobby Bonilla day, and the Generation K came up, and they sucked, and then Harvey, and then Syndergaard, and everybody comes up, gets hurt, and sucks. It's just one thing after another after another. But this one, where you finally rid yourself of all that crap, and you've got the richest owner in baseball, hands down, who's going out there throwing money at every problem, trying to build something and putting a timeline on it. And this is what we're getting so far, which is a team that absolutely puttered out in embarrassing fashion last year and then came back and is giving you this next year. You better figure this out or everybody's going to be laughing at you. Everybody's going to be laughing at you. Everybody will be Marcus Stroman if you don't figure this out. The rest of Major League Baseball and the fans will be Marcus Stroman pumping their chest, yelling in your dugout, and laughing their asses off because this team that cost $375 million sucks.
And you're talking championship right now. I'm just thinking, can they make playoffs? Are they a playoff team?
Oh
50
God.
games in right now, I would say no. All right, they don't look the part. They're very average, and they're going to be lumped in with a lot of other teams that are hoping to get a wild card spot.
I mean, if this team misses the playoffs,
There's a long way to go, and this team will make moves. I don't doubt at all that this team will look different in 3 months than it looks right now. I really do believe the changes will be made. I don't think they'll stand pat.
Yeah, you'll have Nito and Navarez in there, and Alvarez and Syracuse.
I don't buy that.
That'll be the change.
I don't buy that. Unless Alvarez goes through one of these 10, 12-game funks where he can't hit his way out of a paper bag, which certainly does not look like. Gelb's had that thing on during the game last night. I don't know if you saw it or not, if you were off it or watching the Yankees at this point, but at one point he had showed, I forget exactly what the stats were, but it was like his first handful of games with the Mets, up at the major league level, his swing and miss rate and chase rate and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, that Braves series when he came up and couldn't hit anything.
As opposed to what it's been the last 7 days, it is amazingly different, and it looks like he has kind of grown as a player, and the more he's here and up here at this level, he's getting better and better and better. I will bet you breakfast, which these days for you means a piece of romaine lettuce and a noodle, that he's not going anywhere.
Okay.
Not going anywhere. And then if I win, if I lose, I'll get you that. If I win, you can get me the Wendy's Baconator.
Listen, I don't want him to go anywhere. I'm just worried about it.
He's not going anywhere.
I'm just worried that I feel like I've seen these things before.
He's not going anywhere.
Especially when guys have options.
Especially when they're, floundering like they are and they're just hovering around 500. You can't get rid of you want to call Alonso your best, fine. After him, you can't get rid of your second best offensive player. You can't.
Nope. But they'll explain
for
it.
Nito's 150 batting average
and
picking the ball in the middle because he can't see. Hey, come on.
Listen, I really hope not. I really hope not. I think I'm conditioned for the worst to happen with them right now. That's what it is. I'm conditioned for the worst to happen.
Thanks so much for watching the video.
Please like and subscribe.
And don't forget to hit the bell so you're notified when we're dropping new content.